After the flag salute, if you remain standing in a moment of silence to honor our past and present members of the Lockport Township Fire Protection District and those serving in the U.S. military. And Trustee McCluskey, would you lead us in the pledge?
Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I thank you. And roll call, please.
Trustee Meter?
Here.
Trustee Pell?
Here.
Trustee Pelia?
Here.
Trustee McCluskey?
Here.
Trustee Siegel?
Here.
Next item is matters of the public. If anyone would like to address the board, please let us know. Did anybody sign in? Chief?
No, and Trustee Pelk, if I can, I just wanted to inform all the board members that at the request of the board, you'll notice the table as you come in. We did pull out of the current policy manual. There is a sign-in sheet, which is there for people who want to address the board, as well as the rules for addressing the board. We'll now be there every meeting, so we hope that meets your request. Also on your table tonight, we made a copy of the rules for the governing of the board. These are current both rules that are in our policy manual. That's just there for your review and assistance as needed. Finally, I would like to make sure that the board is officially introduced to Diane Schmidt. She is the new Human Resources Accounts Payable person with the district. She's been with us now for about a month. 3 weeks. Like I said, 3 weeks. And going well, but I just wanted to make sure that everybody had face to face.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Is there anything else under? Go ahead, sir.
I presume the chief is going to continue to work on this to make the necessary corrections.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you. The next item is the approval of the minutes of our regular meeting dated July 23rd, 2014. Any comments, questions?
Move to approve. Second.
Roll call?
Trustee Siegel?
Yes.
Trustee McCluskey?
Yes.
Trustee Pell?
Yes.
Trustee Pelia?
Yes.
Trustee Meter?
Yes.
The next item is the treasurer's report. Bob, please.
I just want to point out on the first sheet there shows the district has roughly $14.8 million in 6 local financial institutions. The second page shows where that $14.8 million spread out within 9 funds in the district. The third page shows a comparison to where we were 3 months into the fiscal year last year at this time. Just quickly in the top there, the revenues were $250,000 more than we were last year. And on the bottom there, it shows the expenses were roughly $600,000 more in expenses. But I do want to point out, as you see in under contractual commodities, in July there was $737,000 this year. That includes the Romeo bill payment, and last year we paid it in August, so it's just the timing. And also they're expensed. We bought the two ambulances. We actually paid for them in advance last year, but for accounting purposes, we put it as a prepaid expense, and now we're just expensing it because we took ownership of them. And I will entertain any questions if you have them.
Any questions of the treasurer? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
And a roll call, please.
Trustee McCluskey?
Yes.
Trustee Siegel?
Yes.
Trustee Pelia?
Yes.
Trustee Meter?
Yes.
Trustee Powell?
Yeah. Next item is the approval of the bills in the amount of $368,106.68. Any comments or questions?
Yeah, I got it. What do we buy blue from the city of Joliet?
Yeah, our long-standing agreement, this goes back to the 80s. When we buy fuel, we don't have our own fuel pump. We have credit cards that operate at all the fuel stations. The city of Joliet has always allowed us to use them as a source too. They have their west side filling station on Cedar Road, so the west side companies sometimes get fuel there.
How is their cost compared to, I see that almost every month. How does their cost for fuel compare with buying it at the station?
We haven't done it recently, but every time that we've done it, they're I would say equal.
And we still pay all the same motor fuel taxes as everyone else?
We don't. There are certain taxes that get removed off of our purchases at the gas station. Which ones, I can't tell you off the top of my head, but we don't pay all the fuel taxes. Just to answer the trustees, every couple of years, we go through this routine where we go out to a vendor, look at getting our own fuel system, we price it out, and every time we've done that, it's cheaper for us just to stay doing what we're doing.
Do we use a cashback card for buying gas?
We did have a cashback card at Speedway, but they just got rid of their card, so we're now using a WEX card. WEX is just a brand that's good at all service stations. We do not get, we don't have any points on that one.
City of Joliet in the month of July for diesel charged $3.34. And same what they charge at Speedway, that's cheaper.
Any other questions? Trustee Siegel? I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Who seconded?
Aye.
Trustee Meter?
Yes.
Trustee Pelia?
Yes.
Trustee McCluskey?
Yes.
Trustee Siegel?
Yes.
Trustee Powell?
Yes. Next item is the approval of the disbursements in the amount of $27,827.12. Comments or questions?
I'll make a motion to approve. Second.
Motion to approve by Trustee Meter and Trustee McCluskey second. And a roll call.
Trustee Meter?
Yes.
Trustee McCluskey?
Yes.
Trustee Siegel?
Yes.
Trustee Powell?
Yep.
Trustee Pelia?
Yes.
Thank you. Next item is the attorney's report. Carl?
I was asked to look at a couple of issues with respect to the April 2015 trustees election of this board. And we have one position up, it's a 6-year term, and with the 2 new additional trustees, there will be 2 positions that will not have a specific term because they will have their terms determined after seated at the first meeting by lot. One will have a 2-year term and one will have a 4-year term. And so we're going to have to work with the county clerk to make sure that the ballot is done properly. And anyone that wants to file for a board of trustees position will have to file for either the 6-year term or a to be determined term. And so different people might do different things in order to get on a preferred spot on the ballot. You could have somebody actually file for both and then withdraw one based upon how many people are running for the full term versus the shorter terms. But you will have 3 spots up, and there's a particular petition form to be used for trustees running for fire district boards, and that's available on the State Board of Elections website. And I was just trying to get onto that website because I didn't look at what the filing, oh, this guidebook right here. Isn't it good? We talked about this, but I didn't. First day to circulate petitions, I think it was in September, and I didn't remember the date. 23rd, filing period is 15th and through the 22nd of December. And so on the 22nd, the district's offices need to be open till at least 5 o'clock. So the chief's got information here if people who want to obtain it.
I'll ask him. So the to be determined will be a 2-year term and a 4-year term?
Correct. And there was some thought that we would have 3 different positions up and that you would file for either the 2-year term, the 4-year term, or the 6-year term, and that is not correct. It is a 6-year term and then a to be determined term for 2 trustees.
And you got that from the county clerk or?
I got that from the Fire Protection District Act, which says when you add, you go to a 5-member board, they're up for election at the next election, and their terms are determined by lot by either a 2-year or a 4-year term.
Even if they're appointed before the election?
Yeah, because you wouldn't have 3 up for election in one cycle for 6-year terms, and then 1 up in 2 years and 1 up in 4 years after that.
I mean, I'm just wondering the timing of going to a 5-member board before the last election versus after the last election.
Yeah, looking at that, it's the next election available for election trustees. They filled the vacancies on the board until the next election. So they're up in April, and one other. Jim, I think you're up, correct? So it could be a little confusing, but that's what we've got for trustee candidates.
Do we know how many signatures you have to get?
A grand total of 25 valid signatures. There's always that.
Is that different than it's been in the past, or is that just?
That's what it's been for the last approximately 10 years, to the best of my recollection, but historical dates when things passed, my brain doesn't remember as well, because 10 years ago seems like a very short time now.
What was it, 5% of the?
Yeah, it used to be 5 to 8 or 5 to
total.
7,
Yeah.
and now it's
Whatever
just
it was.
25.
What constitutes valid?
Registered voter living in the district, signing properly at the place that they're registered, with the circulator doing it properly, and page numbers on the petition and stapled together or fastened together properly at the top. You know, all those things are very particular, filled out properly. I love election challenges.
And your declaration of financial interest being done properly?
That needs to be filed before, or at the time of filing.
That's the yellow one that goes to the county clerk?
Right, but that's separate from the one that you'll do the first of the year for your current term. You have to do another one just for your petition. Then if you win, you have to do it again as an elected official.
Is that right?
Every year.
Well, I know you do it by May 1st, but what are you talking about?
You have to file an economic interest form
When you fi- as a candidate?
when you file as a candidate.
Oh, right.
And then if you are elected, you have to file again as an elected.
Right.
Okay.
So unless there's other questions, that's all that I have, except for some agenda items, if you have questions as we go through.
Okay.
Unless there was something else from the chief. I think so. Okay.
Do we have need for closed session?
Probably not.
Okay. Chief, your report, please.
Good evening, trustees. I just want to highlight a couple of the items that are on my report because they affect the trustees. Item number 2 talks about the trustee training, October 4th in Lisle. This is a half-day session. Some of our trustees have gone before. If anybody's interested, let us know and we will get you registered. If you want to go as a group, we can supply a department vehicle, meet here, and all go together. But it is October 4th in Lisle. It's a 3-hour class. If anybody's interested, let me go.
What,
They haven't announced the topic.
there's 3, we signed up for,
This is different.
This is different than the
This is
training.
different. This is just a 3-hour seminar for
trust
trustees.
just advanced training like we do in Lombard.
Yes.
This would just qualify for your continuing ed requirement if you've already done the certification program. That'll get you the 3 hours that are required annually.
Last year was on Obamacare.
Yeah.
So it's strictly, we're just sharing it with you. It's an upcoming class. If you're interested in going, call the office and we'll help you get registered.
But the one we go to in February, we would get credit for the same thing.
Correct. You can get your easy 3 hours there as well.
Item number 3, we have been talking with the trustees about the 3 trustee training courses that we're talking about holding in Bartlett through the Illinois Association of Fire Protection Districts. We spoke with the assistant this week. She said as of yet, they still don't have enough people to put those classes on. They expect to make a determination sometime this month, the month of September. I'm getting ahead of myself. So we'll just keep you informed as that goes. Some other issues that aren't on my report. The election material that Carl was talking about, we just got that yesterday. So we have to make a packet, put it together for all the candidates, so there'll be a lot of other things coming. But the important thing to remember is the date, September 23rd, that's when it starts. So we will have everything, we've been through this process before. We'll have everything packetized, we'll have it all ready, and we'll get you a memo before September 23rd as to how things are going down. But just rest assured, as elected officials, they'll be taken care of in the office. Update on the vehicle committee, and I don't know if Trustee Pelly, you want to give an update, or if you want me to do it, it's up to you.
Oh, we're meeting tomorrow.
How close are we?
Pretty close. I think they're right there to decide tomorrow.
We had a group of fellas go up last week to the Pierce factory in Wisconsin. Got to see a lot of the products that are available, so they've got a good handle. And like Trustee Pelly said, tomorrow they're going to sit down together and hopefully finalize some specifications. There is a possibility that it might be 3 vehicles before you instead of 2. We'll cover all that when we get to that point, but I just want to make you aware that that might happen. Trustee training I already talked about. The Illinois Fire Chiefs Conference is coming up October 12th through 17th down in Peoria. Normally, the deputy chief, myself, and one of the battalion chiefs goes. It's not on the agenda. We just got the information again last week, but there's never been a problem. We'll put it on the September meeting to get approval from the board to perhaps chief officers attend that. Also next month, I just want to give you a heads up that we're going to be we've been working all summer on a Illinois Clean Energy Program. We did one, I think it was 2 years ago, Bob, for stations for 2 and 6. Part of 6, part of 3, and station 2. What it is, it's a lighting program. It's run through the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. I can go into details of the program, but like I say, I'm bringing it to you next month. What it is, it's going to cost the district about $20,000 to upgrade the lighting in 3 of our buildings. Payback is going to be 10 months or less, and over a 10-year period, we're going to save like over $100,000 in electrical costs. So more to follow next month on that.
Okay, is there grants for that? Is that what you?
Yes, there's grants.
So the payback is based on our out-of-pocket?
The payback is an estimate on using your total kilowatt hours you're using today with the light bulbs you have, and then they plug the same kilowatt hours in with the new fixtures, which are almost all LED, and then they compute your savings from that. The grant covers some of the cost of the installation. So this $20,000 installation cost, total package is, 30 to 35. So the grant's covering that other portion.
So the 6-month payback period is actually gonna be less than that because the 20,000 is.
10 month payback.
Okay,
10 month.
but that's if we paid the whole 35,000 without a grant.
No, that's included. As it's presented to you, with the $20,000 out of pocket for the district for like a $30,000 or $35,000 job, the payback to get that $20,000 that we're paying out, we're gonna recoup within 10 months. But that's just heads up, it'll be before the next month.
One other item, Chief.
Yes, sir.
The November and December meetings are the third Wednesday instead of the fourth?
That is correct. Thank you, Trustee McCluskey. As you know, the levy process, we always have to have our levy filed the third Tuesday
Before the last.
before, I thought it was the third Tuesday, I'm being corrected, the last Tuesday of the month in December. But we have to have a 30-day posting, so we moved the November or the December meeting up, so we also have to move the November meeting up, so we had that 30-day period. You get the same item I get from my wife.
For the levy, if you're going to exceed a 5% increase over the previous year's extension, you have to do the truth of taxation notice, which is 7 to 14 days in advance of the public hearing. You have to make a finding at least 20 days in advance of that public hearing of whether you will exceed 5%. And it's a timing period, I think, between the last Wednesday, or it might be a Thanksgiving issue as well in November, and your December meetings, that it makes that window a little tight. So I think that's part of it as well.
So is it still the third Wednesdays?
Yes.
Thank you.
So it's the 19th.
And it's on the schedule that we accepted at the beginning of the year, yes.
Because I believe I will not be here. I will not be in town on the 19th. Fortunately, there's 4 other people that can be, so. No, the November 19th meeting. That week on.
Wednesday the 19th, yes.
Chief, what if we, what if we come October, if we can set a date? I would like to have a little workshop for setting the levy,
October?
a workshop,
Mhm.
so we could maybe do something in October. Just maybe an hour-long workshop, just to kind of know where we're at, where we're going.
Would you like me to send some dates out to you?
Well,
No,
we can probably do it next month, right? September.
It's up to the board. If you want to set a date now, or if you want me just to go through the calendar and find some clear dates and offer them to you?
Yeah, we could probably do it next month if you wanted to, right? But you probably have a workshop, you're not, the figure, you're gonna work up some figures, right?
Yes.
When would you be doing that, in October, right?
Yeah, we won't have those until probably closer to the beginning of November.
So if we had one first part of November,
And the figures we're talking about, like for the levy,
yes, all that.
the levy on our part is always a guess, because the levy is based on the assessed valuation, which we don't get until April. So we're guessing.
Start getting some estimates and, or, like ballpark, what they have in their computer at, in October. So we'll start getting some preliminary numbers
Kind
in.
of a window.
Yeah.
We'll set a date.
Is that all right, Paul?
Sure. Will there be a 9/11 ceremony this year?
Lockport is hosting a September 11th ceremony. It's ironic that you asked that, because we inquired if anybody had heard anything about it, and after we inquired about it, we were contacted that, yes, they were going to have one. I don't have any details on it. All we have so far is an email from the police officer that runs it saying, we're gonna do it again this year, we need to start talking.
Probably at Central Square.
It's always held at Central Square out in front by the flag. Usually it starts in the morning, 9, 10 o'clock, but as soon as we get all the information, we'll share that with all the board members.
As far as you know, Crest Hill's not doing anything.
I don't know, to my knowledge, Crest Hill doesn't do anything. The only ones that I know of is the Lockport Police and Lockport Fire Department, going on 8 years now, annually does the one at Central Square. Joliet Junior College also does a regional one, which we get invited to every year, but we always have to pass on because we're involved with the Lockport.
I was remiss, normally Dave and John include letters from the public for thanks for a job well done. And for 2 months I've been remiss in sending a letter of that kind. We had an event July 12th at our farm to raise money for a Afghanistan veteran, and it was the same day that the department was here for the soccer tournament.
Yeah, it was a soccer tournament for inter-college, like.
And we had an engine and 2 firefighters there as a wash-up. It was a mud run, and fortunately we really didn't need them because we got about 2.5 inches of rain as the race was going on, so there wasn't, the rain pretty well took care of the water. But I did want to make mention that I appreciate the consideration that the department afforded our fundraiser to help raise some funds for him. And we'll be doing that again next year, I'm sure. But I just don't want another month to go by without acknowledging participation by an engine and 2 firefighters from this district for a few hours that day. And much appreciated.
We'll make sure those firefighters know you appreciate their help. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Chief, anything else?
No, sir.
Anything, gentlemen? Any other questions of the chief? Okay, we'll move on.
Did you want to say anything, Chief, about Monday's meeting with the senator and how that went?
Yes, I'm talking.
Okay.
Yeah, John, I think John.
Yeah,
John?
okay, my report stand is presented, but 2 of the trustees came out and met Senator Hastings Monday. We took him out on a fireboat on the waterway. He was very interested in what was down there, and he was pretty shocked to see what was in the waterway. It just happened to be a lot of the rains out of Chicago, and he experienced something a lot of people don't see, what's in that water. We did take him up to the fish barrier. Very nice gentleman, youngest senator in Illinois right now. Senator Meter and Trustee Meter and Pelia were there on the boat also, and Gordon didn't meet him at lunchtime, but very nice guy. Tells you like it is. Doesn't sugarcoat anything, so.
I live in this district, I'm the only one.
Unfortunately, Chicago runs downhill towards us. So.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, he's pretty, he's a middle of the road guy.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, thank you. Next item is unfinished business, and we have the policy manual, and I would ask if there's any questions from the board. I'm sure that there is, and I know that I have many, and I would make a motion to table the policy manual decision for a little while longer, because I only went through half of this. I have quite a few questions. I don't know what you feel about it, Paul. Henry?
I got some questions on.
Yeah, there's Carl, there's some stuff in there that I have, it actually, I don't understand what,
Okay.
under the ethics. with
Under the trustee ethics, you'd have to explain just what a person can do and what he can't do. If you read that, I'm so confused, I don't know what I can do.
All right.
So we need to,
Do you want to have us spend some time, either tonight or at the next meeting, going through that section? Or is there any other sections that you want us to focus on so that we can just kind of go through that?
We don't want Dave to miss out on the fun.
Pardon? You want David to miss out on the fun? Yeah.
Did you read that?
No, not all of it, no.
who could?
It's interesting reading when you can't sleep.
That's probably the biggest, my concern, that's the biggest area.
Yeah.
I think
All right.
they-
The rest of it's pretty much cut and dry. I know trustee Palia had some questions also. And Gordy, I'm sure,
I've been through the document, and I forwarded my comments to the chief.
okay,
And
all right.
they've been incorporated, I believe, unless we've got more. Okay.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
thorough. I appreciate that. So however you want to do it as a board, we can take it and next meeting and just say, okay, let's take first two chapters, any questions on the first chapter, go to the next one. Or I can just come in and we can focus on the ethics area. I know it's a difficult language-wise because it's pretty much statutory.
Right.
And you know how the General Assembly is. They can't seem to write in English because most of them are lawyers or they never practiced.
Say no more.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
And all they do is mess things up. Unfortunately, it's not clean, it's not easy to understand, so.
Maybe one section at a time that we do have concerns.
One section at a time, yeah.
Yeah, probably,
Okay.
you know, like, I mean, I don't know where you're at, Gordy, the chief knows, but take whatever concerns are there, we'll handle that. The next meeting, handle another chapter or a question.
Maybe do kind of a time limit on it, we'll get as much as we
Yeah,
can cover
we
in
don't wanna
20
be
or
here
30 minutes,
forever,
and
you know.
then if we're at a good ending spot, we'll end and we'll put it over. Is that a good plan?
Can we do any tonight, or we don't have a closed session tonight, it'll probably be a particularly short meeting, do we want to spend 10 minutes on? To get started on
Would you
it?
want to spend 10 minutes, Henry? I know that you were concerned about that one area. Yeah, we could do that. That's not a problem.
All right,
Henry?
shall we start with, are there any questions in chapter 1?
It's hard to follow through the page numbers are wrong.
The page numbers are wrong
Yeah.
in,
Just to clarify, do we want to go through every section? We just want to go through the sections we have questions about? Because I know trustee Meter is ethics, and trustee Pelly has some concerns about,
Yeah, let's just do those two.
Yeah.
Do that, Henry, bring it to Carl's attention, the exact number. Carl, I think it'd be better that way, you know, than to go through each one, because,
Okay, start on page 45.
okay, 45.
and I know the table of contents page numbers are not lining up with the actual pages, and that's because we're waiting until we get everything clean, and then we'll go back into the table of contents. So we're not doing that multiple times. Okay, so page 45. Oh, I love this section.
Is this all new?
No, this has been,
This is out of the existing manual?
well, whether it was in the
It wasn't in the,
old manual, it is current law, and it has been law for several years.
Yeah, it's not in our,
It just hadn't, the policy, I don't think, was in place. The statutes were.
In our manual.
Yeah.
Henry, go ahead.
well, just go by, Carl, just go down by one. What does one mean? What does 2, 3?
Starting with the definitions?
Definitions, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
These are definitions that then relate to the actual terms later in the policy. Campaigning for elective office, taking any action to try to influence people's vote for or against candidates. In both.
About a yard sign in the yard or something, or what are you talking about? If someone asked me to put a yard sign in my yard, I can't do that.
Well, I don't believe that's what it's saying. It's saying that employees cannot, we gotta go to number 14, prohibited political activity. Gotta read some of these together.
Yeah.
Contributions, soliciting.
Are we talking about for district business, or are we talking about worldwide?
Well, no, this is, if you're an employee or you're an officer of this organization, while you are being compensated for your services as an employee of the district, you cannot engage in these activities. Okay, you as elected board members can engage in political activities, but your employees can't go out in uniform, even off-duty, and being affiliated with the fire department. We've had court decisions saying that when you had a referendum going and the firefighters were going out door to door, they had their uniform shirts on, that was a violation of the Ethics Act, because in the campaigning, because that shirt or that uniform was paid for by public funds, or using public funds to do election activities. That's what this is to prevent, using the public funds to engage in these activities. So as officers, elected officers, that doesn't mean that you are precluded from engaging in political activities. But this goes to your employees as well as officers of the district. So don't think that by this that you cannot engage in political activities. You have the right to engage in political activities, as do your employees. They just can't do it while being paid for by the district. Okay? That's what this is saying.
Or as a representative of the district?
Right.
So if people, they go out, as a Lockport firefighter to be political, as a Lockport Township firefighter, they can't do that. But
I
if
think they could. They could identify themselves as, I'm a firefighter in Lockport and I support this.
okay.
Oh, they don't have a uniform on?
Yeah.
Right.
But as long as you're not claiming to represent the.
Correct.
Well, that's what I'm getting
Correct.
at.
Just to not go out and say it's an official position of the district that we support or we do not support this candidate, something like that. No, that'd be a problem.
So the union could have an opinion or
Correct.
have political activities.
Correct.
They obviously don't represent the district.
Correct.
But an individual firefighter that holds himself out as being a representative of the district and taking this position, it can be confusing to the public as to who that person is representing.
Correct. And we've had, say, fire chief of some sort go to a neighboring government in uniform, stating their office and which department they are with, and blasting that other unit of government's activities. And that can get that individual in trouble at his own place of employment, and did. So it's that type of activity that is prohibited, and that is, once you get through all the definitions, in B it talks about the prohibited political activities. Number 4, under the definitions, compensated time, which is key to this prohibition. Respect the employee any time worked by or credited to the employee. So if I'm getting paid and I'm on vacation, I should not be out doing political activities, because that is compensated time. Now, some people think that that's questionable, and I'm not sure which way a court would go on it. But in here, anytime worked by or credited employee that counts towards minimum work time requirement imposed a condition of employment. I'm sorry, it just specifically says it here, it doesn't include vacation time. If you were not,
No, I was just more concerned about what a trustee could do and what he couldn't do. You can buy a fundraising ticket, or you can put a yard sign in your yard.
Absolutely.
You're not, okay.
yes,
Okay.
that's not, this isn't going to prevent you from doing any of them. Your employees can do that.
Yeah.
I would not recommend you put the signs up on your district property. That would be a bad
I
thing.
know that.
But you might find individuals putting signs up in the parkway in front of your station, and if that happens, it should be removed. So it's not looking like the district is endorsing candidates. And you can't control where, that people put them out there.
But you gotta be careful where you store them after you pick them up.
Yeah, you don't store them in the window showing up.
You don't leave them on the property.
No.
Is any of this specifically different for a district election cycle than it is for any other political activity?
No. There's no exceptions at all. If you have a district election cycle happening, it's okay for the employees to engage in these activities.
No, but I mean, so it's no more stringent for a district election than it is for governor's election.
Correct. And the important aspects here are the prohibited activities. That means trustees, chief officers cannot require employees to engage in political activities. Not only are they prohibited from doing it, you cannot require that they do it on behalf of you or some other person, or for a referendum. If you were doing a tax increase or something, bond sale, referendum question, you can't require the employees to go out and support.
Can the trustee or the chief officer go out and work that area?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And the question is, as long as they're not on duty, and then I would encourage them not to be in uniform.
No, but I mean, what about a trustee?
Absolutely, you can do that.
And we're not on duty, so, I mean,
Technically, you're on duty all the time, but it's okay for you to do those things.
okay.
And you can't give people awards for participating, or, treat them negatively, discipline, or not give them promotions because they did or did not engage in political activities that you support. But they can certainly do so on a voluntary basis on their own time, as can you.
And we're not duty bound to police or enforce this, correct? Or are we?
Well, if you see people engaging in those activities, it's a violation of Illinois law and it's a violation of your policies. So it's up to the chief to enforce those policies.
Okay. Although
Chief and
this
other
is
officers.
this is our policy manual.
Correct.
Therefore, it's beholden on us and not just the chief of the district or the officers of the district. So does the statute expect, if you know of something, to report it? And if you don't, are you in some way guilty of something?
Well, if you know of activities going on and you don't do anything about it, there's a chance that you could also be named as a defendant, because it is and now you're talking about a Section 1983 cause of action against the district for allowing the employees or knowingly permitting, encouraging employees to engage in prohibited political activities. And so that's where you run the risk. If you know that something is going on and you don't take action as a trustee to inform the chief, because the chief is charged with enforcing the policies, and handling the day-to-day discipline of employees. Not, the trustees don't have that, but they should report to the chief who does have that authority. And if the chief isn't taking care of it appropriately, then you deal with the chief. But there's also statutory enforcement mechanisms in play. You could report it to State Attorney General's office, and they could possibly go after it from a criminal violation.
Would these be misdemeanor if they were prosecuted? Would these be misdemeanor, or would they be a felony?
I believe they are misdemeanors. Official misconduct typically would be, I think, a Class A misdemeanor. I don't know for sure, but I believe that's it. There are some official misconduct activities that can get you into felonies, but I don't think this is one of them.
Before we go any further, is there some way that we can finish the agenda and then table this for a meeting afterwards so we can finish this? There are people that might want to go home and not listen to our comments about
Well, yeah, we're a little over our 10 minutes for tonight, so we certainly could.
That kind of answers Carl what
All right. It's not quite as severe as what you
Right,
interpreted
that's what you
to be.
thought.
No.
Yeah, we can just, or Henry, you feel comfortable with that? I know I feel a lot better.
He can go back to electioneering, it sounds like.
Yeah, right.
The important parts are also then the gift bans. People like me and other vendors cannot give gifts in exchange for continuing to provide service to you with certain exceptions, and those are spelled out in here.
Okay. All right, thank you, Carl.
You're welcome.
Just a point of order.
I had made a motion to table the,
You make one, or you ask for one?
I made one.
Okay.
I made a motion to table the.
Then I'll second it.
Okay. And we have a second. And a roll call, please.
Trustee Powell?
Yes.
Trustee Siegel?
Yes.
Trustee Meter?
Yes.
Trustee Pelia?
Yes.
Trustee McCuskey?
Thank you, Gordon. Under new business, the first item is the destruction of the August 16th, 2012 verbatim record of the closed session minutes.
So moved. Second.
Oh, wait a minute, that was fast.
McCluskey, Meter.
Trustee McCluskey?
Made the motion, I second it.
Yes.
Trustee Meter?
Roll call. Yeah, we're gonna have.
He has asked you if you want.
Yes.
Are you doing a roll call now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Powell?
Yes.
Trustee Pelia?
Yes.
Trustee Siegel?
No.
Okay, thank you. Next item is the Westcom Executive Board. The roster, Trustee Siegel is the #1 man there, and we're looking for 2 trustees,
Additional?
alternate, in case Trustee Siegel gets sick or whatever. And I had asked Mr. Talia and Mr. Meter if they might be interested. I did not ask you, but if you're interested,
No, thanks.
okay.
Henry?
Yeah. Mr. Talia?
Yes.
Okay, so we got our 2 alternates.
Tell me who number 2 is.
Pardon me?
Who's number 2?
Okay, who wants to be #1?
You want me, one?
Paul's
Paul's
number one.
Who's the first
I
alternate?
mean, #2.
Who's on second?
Who's on
You
second?
want me on second? Dave?
I'll take second.
I'll take third.
So you just call back and forth till you get some, if there's a conflict with our schedules?
Yeah, the way it works is they always have the executive board members' meetings, which are 4 times a year. Sometimes even less because they don't have nothing to talk about. But we just need to have an order, a pecking order, that if Trustee Siegel's out of town or can't make it, who goes next.
Because we want representation.
Correct.
Because we do have a vote.
Thank you, we'll report that to us.
Okay, did I need it? I didn't. That's all that has to be done there, right? We have our alternates and
Why don't you do a
we need
motion?
a motion?
Why don't we do a motion so that there's official action naming Mr. Peya as the first alternate and Mr. Meter as the second alternate?
So move.
Second.
Would you normally have the first, myself, is that a formal vote, or it's an appointment for my position, which doesn't require a vote? So you
I
would have.
assumed you were already on.
I am.
Okay.
But for me to be on, that was not a vote. That's an appointment by the president.
That's how you did it?
So I don't know why we would need a motion or vote to appoint alternates if we don't.
Because I don't know if the bylaws of Westcom provide for the president to appoint or for the body to appoint.
Our bylaws call for it to be the president.
The Westcom. If that's the case, then the president can just appoint and we can send a letter saying that you guys are first, second, and third.
Okay. Make it so.
So it's written.
Okay.
The king has spoken.
The next item, 3, is purchase of the EMS safety equipment. And Chief, you want to speak to this, or John?
We've been talking about this for probably the last 4 or 5 months. It was goes around the rescue task force concept for the active shooter. Law enforcement has changed right now. They don't wait outside, they go in right now if there's an active shooter in the school or whatever. We are putting policy together, we're going to train our medics, so if we do get that, the police would secure a scene, another group would take our medics in there to extricate anybody that was hurt or shot or whatever. So this is actually bulletproof vests, helmets for the paramedics, and a go kit, the medical kit, so they can go in there right away, treat whoever, and get them out right away. Years ago, they would just wait till SWAT got there. You're talking like an hour, but this is for getting in right away and getting them out to get treatment. And our insurance carrier with the Helping Hands grant, of that $12,550, they're gonna reimburse us 50% of that as a grant, to cover 50% of that cost.
Who's going to?
IPRF, it's their carrier, they have a Helping Hands grant, they match 50% of it, and this is one of the things they'll qualify for that. So we were looking at putting a set on each in-service ambulance and a set in the battalion chief's vehicle in case an ambulance is not around, because every one of our vehicles, our guys are in it, they're all paramedics. And we don't want to be caught in a situation where we're not ready to act. That's the biggest thing.
Do we pay the total amount and then get reimbursed?
Yes, and I contacted IPRF, and they said, as soon as you get this invoice, you get approved, we'll cut you a check right now. So it'll probably take at least a month or 5 weeks to get the equipment, but they're ready to cut us a check right away for 50%.
I'll make a motion to approve the EMS safety equipment and the cost of $12,550.
Second.
Gordon, there's one other thing on the bottom of that too, that $990. That's what they won't cover that, they only cover the protective equipment, they won't cover that cost.
I'll amend the motion to include the medical kits at $990.
My second.
Any other comments? Roll call.
Trustee McCluskey?
Yes.
Trustee Stigall?
Yes.
Trustee Meter?
Yes.
Trustee Powell?
Yes.
Trustee Pelia?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next item is to declare the 2003 ambulance surplus, and we have I think we have a resolution there. I'll entertain a motion to.
So moved.
Okay, 2014-04.
It's declaring it surplus.
Correct. Second.
I have a comment. I would like to try to sell this vehicle, give it 2 weeks in the trade paper here. 2 weeks, this is the Illinois Auto RV, everybody reads these things. You get 2 weeks in 9 different issues, so it goes in a lot of different states and on the internet. For 2 weeks, it costs $125 or whatever. Put it in for 2 weeks, ask $5 grand, or best offer, see what happens. If it doesn't go into 2 weeks, I noticed that there was some requesting that possibly we donate it to another fire district or whatever. I say that's fine, and they can pay the $125 for the fee that we advertise.
You were going to get, I think, an estimate of value, did we?
The trade-in value was like $3,000. That was just verbal, he didn't give it to us in writing. He was basically telling us he didn't want to get rid of it on your own.
But you still want to set it at 5,000?
Yeah, I don't agree with the trade value, because these guys are gonna steal it anyway.
They
What do
obviously
they
don't want
care?
it.
Right. The reason that I would like to, there may be somebody out there that redoes these things, maybe turn them into a hot dog truck or whatever. You never know. But there's a lot of people out there looking for vehicles like this, and I say give it a shot and see what happens. If it doesn't work well, we're not even gonna be out the $125.
I have a question.
Sir?
Does resolution 2014-04 automatically declare this as surplus in addition to the sale or donation or disposal? Or is that 2 separate motions? Declare it as surplus, and the second one is 2014-04?
2014-04 is declaring it surplus and authorizing its sale or donation.
Thank you.
We have a listing prepared as to the particulars on the vehicle, what it comes with, what we're taking out of it, what we're leaving into it.
No, we have not done anything yet because we're waiting for the board to go through the process.
What are you anticipating leaving in the vehicle that?
No. All of the medical equipment's already been taken out. That's been taken out. So it's a shell right now. Our mechanic has asked us that there's a couple lights on there that he would like to take out because it's the same model light we use on some of the other vehicles. So he would like to, put them on the shelf for replacements.
Is that a diesel or gas?
It's a diesel.
Diesel. Well, how many miles we got on it? Well, right?
Sorry, I don't know that, but it's
That's okay.
that one. It's in the 90s.
Yeah, it's okay, okay. Well, what if we gave it a try like that? If it don't work in 2 weeks, take this other thing up?
It's your direction. If the board directs us to go to Illinois RV Trader, it'll be in there by the end of the week.
So we need first we do the, is that going to be part of the resolution?
It isn't as moved.
I beg your pardon?
As the motion was just to approve the ordinance as presented, declaring it surplus.
Would it be cleaner to have something separate? Do we even need a motion?
If you look at the district memo, the second line there says, declare the unit surplus and direct the fire chief to dispose of the unit with best judgment. I think you made it very clear how you want it done, so we will do it that way.
Okay.
But it really doesn't need to be part of the resolution, because it's not actually part of the resolution.
No, it's not.
correct.
It's part of the motion.
Okay, great.
We'll make that as part of the motion, if that's all right with you. Paul, you made the motion, I believe.
Yes.
To
Adopt the resolution.
basically do what this says?
Yeah.
And direct the chief, yeah.
Yeah,
To use his best judgment.
right.
That's fine.
If that's fine with you, then
Yes.
the chief knows what his best judgment is.
Yeah.
As directed by the board.
Second was who?
The second was Mr. Meter.
We had a motion? didn't we?
Yes.
Motion and
Take a
second.
vote.
And a second? Are we all done?
No, we
Can't vote. Roll call?
Trustee Siegel?
Yes.
Trustee Meter?
Yes.
Trustee Paul?
Yes.
Trustee Pelia?
Yes.
Trustee McCluskey?
Yes.
To be clear, we're not directing the chief to accept any specific value. Obviously, if somebody offers him 5,000, he can sell it with the best offer. We're gonna leave that up to him.
That's
So
right.
if somebody offers $3,500 for it.
Take it.
Okay,
Right.
okay. Just want to be clear that,
Yeah. Let it run its 2 weeks, you know? And write down the offers, you know? And
If you only get a $1,000 offer, do you want them to take that as opposed to considering donating it?
If that's all that we can get out, my personal opinion is if that's all we can get out of it, I would rather donate it to the fire service. That's just my opinion.
I would buy it for the $1,000 and I would donate it. If that's what it comes up to. So if the high bid is $1,000, I would just match that and then I would deal with donating it.
well, let's run it and see what happens. So we have.
The chief will use his best judgment and find out what the trustees want at that right.
Because this is all volunteer. As I read it, all volunteer. Party buddy.
Okay, next item is a request to consider the ambulance to Gibson County, and we talked about that already. I don't think we need to have an action on that.
No, sir.
The next item is the approval of to approve the chief to sign the Zoll monitoring and defibrillator service contract, which we do every year, right, chief?
That's correct.
$8,900, same price?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Sure it is.
Uh,
Same price, isn't it?
It
Right. It seems like it's been that for 10 years. So I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Comments then? Nothing? Roll call?
Trustee Siegel?
Yes.
Trustee Meter?
Yes.
Trustee Paul?
Yes.
Trustee Pelia?
Yes.
Trustee McCluskey?
Yes.
Okay, anything else under new business? Anything in closed session?
I just want to brief the board real quick. We did have another negotiation session today with Local 1544. We made some, what I would consider significant progress toward a deal. It just happened today, so I'm not ready to present it to you, but I'm just letting you know that there will be information forthcoming on how we're doing.
Okay, thank you.
And neither of the two cases that we were kind of waiting to have a resolution is no closer to our knowing what the resolution might be by the third party.
No, last Thursday or Friday, Lisa Moss, the attorney for the union, and I made a conference call to the arbitrator from whom we have been awaiting a decision in the staffing case, left a message and have not been recipients of either an email or a call back. We advised the arbitrator jointly that the negotiations, this is kind of an important issue for negotiations, and we'd like to get a decision, and we'd like to know when we could possibly expect one. It's been either 6 or 7 days since that phone call, and neither Lisa nor I have heard anything back from the arbitrator. And we also agreed that it made sense based upon what we perceive as a possible ability to resolve all the issues, that the life insurance arbitration that was scheduled for September 5th, I believe, we're best not going forward and spending the money on that hearing at this point. And then given what sounds like good progress today, we have agreed to not have that hearing go forward on the 5th, and the chief will be able to brief you all, once he's got it put together, on possible resolution of the contract and the arbitration. So that's what coming in the near future.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call?
Trustee Pauk?
Yes.
Trustee Talia?
Yes.
Trustee McCluskey?
Yes.
Trustee Siegel?
Yes.
Trustee Meter?
Yes.
What was that?